Human brains are hardwired with a concept called evolutionary preparedness. Long before your conscious mind registers the shape of a king cobra or a venomous spider, your brain has already recognized the threat. Instantly, your heart rate spikes, sweat glands open to cool the body, and adrenaline floods your bloodstream. You are physically braced to fight or flee for your life. Through the harsh mechanics of natural selection, individuals who instantly reacted to these specific environmental triggers were simply more likely to survive and pass on their genes. This entire biological alarm system operates completely beneath conscious thought. The physical reaction happens milliseconds before the logical frontal lobe can even process the image. Experiencing intense, uncontrollable fear toward physical threats is a highly successful inherited biological adaptation. Your survival hardware is working exactly as designed. But consider what happens when this exact same violent physiological alarm is triggered by harmless modern environments, like sitting inside an empty bus. Conditions like agoraphobia and social anxiety disorder are mechanical misfires of this survival instinct. These misfires are common. Social anxiety disorder alone carries a 13% lifetime risk in the United States. Despite how common it is, public perception is highly disconnected from the clinical reality. Data from the Swedish Public Health Agency shows that nearly 30% of the population believes anxiety is a self-caused condition. This stigma creates an immediate secondary crisis. Sufferers internalize the public's judgment and blame themselves for their physical reactions, which leads to extreme avoidance behaviors and deep social isolation. Addressing anxiety as a physiological system failure provides the evidence-based framework needed to replace societal stigma with clinical understanding. To dismantle the myth that anxiety is caused by a lack of willpower, we have to look at the specific neurobiology of anticipatory anxiety. When anticipating a feared situation, distinct brain regions, specifically the bilateral ventral striatum and left insula, hyperactivate in a continuous loop. This connects to the visuo-vestibular spatial network. The brain misinterprets physical space, processing a wide-open square as an imminent mortal threat. Experiencing a single panic attack in a public space writes a new physical rule into this network. To prevent future physiological trauma, the brain creates powerful avoidance behaviors to keep the body away from the perceived danger. Agoraphobia is an observable disruption of how the human brain maps and navigates physical space. It is a neurological event that occurs independently of a patient's conscious willpower. While the biological capacity for fear is a universal human trait, our specific cultural environment dictates what pulls the trigger. This chart shows the global prevalence of social anxiety disorder, and it reveals a massive disparity. Western nations like the US and Russia show highly elevated rates, while the prevalence drops significantly in Eastern nations like China and Japan. The sociological reason behind this gap comes down to cultural design. Collectivist societies socially accept and expect reserved behavior, diffusing individual scrutiny. Highly individualistic societies, however, actively penalize those who fail to stand out or perform socially. When modern environmental pressures, ranging from adverse childhood events to strict cultural expectations of extroversion, interact with genetic vulnerabilities, the result is social anxiety. Our social environment acts as the software that programs our biological alarm systems, determining exactly how our fears will manifest. Because these disorders are a proven combination of neurochemical imbalances and learned environmental avoidance, they can be systematically rewired. Psychological interventions like cognitive behavioral therapy and exposure therapy are designed to safely introduce patients to their triggers, slowly breaking the brain's learned avoidance loops. Concurrently, pharmacological interventions like SSRIs are used to calm the underlying neurochemistry. By stabilizing the patient's baseline response, the medication allows the therapeutic rewiring to take hold. The stakes for securing this treatment are incredibly high. According to the DSM-5, spontaneous remission of these disorders without clinical intervention occurs in only about 10% of cases. The shift toward viewing anxiety as a biological mismatch provides a baseline for more effective clinical outcomes. This scientific grounding offers a path to dismantle the cycle of isolation and begin the process of physical recovery.